Hi there and welcome. Are you experiencing some strange physical symptoms? Ones that have you a bit concerned. They may have been going on for a few weeks or a few months, but they're a bit of a mystery and they're seemingly coming out of nowhere. Then this video is for you. If you're experiencing more emotional reactivity than it's normal, they're very sensitive, very moody, then this video is for you. And if you're feeling some energetic anomalies that you're not sure what's causing them, again, they're a mystery, then this video is for you. This video is a result because of talking to a couple of friends of mine, colleagues. They were experiencing different symptoms individually, and they're very conscious, very spiritual people walking the path. But they didn't have any idea that the symptoms they were experiencing are very common ascension symptoms. And so this video is to let everyone, as many people as possible who are going through this, get information about what they're going through, what the symptoms look like and feel like, and how to work with them to clear out the old patterns so that the new energetic upgrade, living from a consciousness of love, can unfold for you. What's really exciting is there's a promise here that with this upgrade, you will be able to connect deeply to your soul's truth, your authentic, divine, loving, magnificent self, that which any part of you has been hidden for any reason is going to be able to come out in all of its glory. You're going to be able to hold more light and emit more light. That is what we are going through. And so I'm really looking forward to sharing this information with you. I'm Susanna Goulder, Live Good Life Transformation Coach. I work with people everywhere to live strong, live well, live healthy, live from love. So let's get started. What's going on in the planet right now, astrologers are seeing astrological patterns that are unprecedented in human history that point to a huge transformation of consciousness. This isn't going to take place immediately on a huge scale. It's going to take perhaps 20, 30 years before we see the full effect of it start to get up and running. But even in the next few years, we're going to see a lot of changes because there are so many astrological patterns that are set up for transformation, for starting new, for clearing out the old. It's like all of these years, 2,000 years, we have lived in a consciousness. It's called the Piscean age. And I love Pisces, but Pisces, the symbol is of two fish. And that's a beautiful metaphor because during the Piscean era, there was me and there was you. There was us, there was them. There was good, there was evil. So there was competition in the Piscean age. It was also a very structured era. And in the Piscean age, there's a lot about top-down power, fighting to be the one in power and having power and dominion and restriction over others. Now it's very exciting for embracing the Mother Earth, embracing each other, working in love and unity. So on a planetary scale, we are being empowered to live from our own individual power and acknowledge each other's power together. On an energetic scale, we are being affected by solar flares that are at a scale that are bigger, uncommonly big. So what happens when there's a solar flare? When there's a large solar flare, it affects the Earth's magnetic field, which affects our circadian rhythm. It knocks us out of balance energetically. We're working with energy. Now, remember the sun. I mean, to me, I work in my garden. I have what I call my hummingbird garden. And I notice that all the plants are always leaning towards the sun. Think how powerful that is. All the plants, even trees, when they're blocked by the sun, they reroute their growth to reach to the sun. And so our relationship with the sun is very, very strong, though very unconscious. We may be more conscious of our relationship with the moon. So I think his name is, I'll put it in the chat, but there's a guru who has predicted how much solar flares are going to change human consciousness. And what he says is you can tell about the effect of the sun by paralleling it to the effect of the moon on us. So when we are centered and meditative, and we go into a new moon or a full moon energy, that energy of meditation within us expands. When we are feeling irritated and off center, and we go into a new or full moon, we may notice that that expands, that imbalance gets more imbalanced. If we are loving and it's a new moon or full moon, that is enhanced as well. And for those that are insane when going through new moon, full moon energy, their insanity will be expanded to a larger degree. So we feel those magnetic pulls from the moon. We're not as aware of what happens to us in the magnetic pulls from the sun. But right now, the symptoms that you're experiencing are being caused in part astrologically, but in part by these solar flares, these solar storms. A.L. Chayefsky from the 19th century, a Russian scientist, according to him, 80% of the most significant human events occurred during a 5-year period surrounding the peak of solar activity. So imagine this. There's a graph of the peak of human events, most important human events, and there's a graph of it. And in line above the graph is the peak of solar activity, and the two are in parallel. So that gives just an idea of how the sun's activity is so powerfully affecting us. And right now, it is shining the light on you, and it's upgrading your frequency as a being. Amazing. And what it indicates to us intellectually is how much energetically the sun is affecting us. Our body is a reflection of everything that's in our unconscious mind. So if there are things that are unresolved or patterns that we're still holding on to, they affect our body. And it's those areas of our body that we may see certain symptoms. The unconscious mind is purging, bringing up to the light, to be seen, to be recognized, to be acknowledged, all that is time, and you're getting the support from everything for it to be released, to be purged, cleared, and released. There's an enormous amount, an unprecedented amount of light coming into our human energy field. And to make room for an upgrade of being able to contain that light, to be rewired, to have the capacity to hold that light, we have to really have a system upgrade. And in that system upgrade, we are purging, we are releasing in many ways, and that's causing the symptoms. Things are coming up that need to be released. So some of the things that are coming up are in our ancestry, our ancestral line, old patterns from the ancestral line. And some people say as far back as 7 generations are coming up to be cleared out. So we are the lucky ones. We have, some people may say, we have chosen to be on earth at this time to help create this consciousness. And what's happening for us is we have this happening within us. And it's up to us to use the support, the divine support that's around us, the planetary support, the angelic support around us, to help us clear out all of those old patterns, some that we've been working on all our life. But this is an opportunity to clear them out for once and for all. It's not going to be overnight. You know, there's going to take work, but it comes down to a spiritual thought right now. And, you know, a lot of what I've learned about this process astrologically is through the astrologer Pam Gregory. And I love how she advises at this time, it's clear we are going to transcend, all of us, as long as we make the choice and do the inner work. But that just takes every day choosing love, not fear. Choosing love, not fear. We don't know what's going to happen economically or politically. And there's going to be some outbursts, unrest. We know it in the next year, year and a half, but that has to happen before there's a shift to a more equitable society where freedom really does ring. And so whatever we see or feel, we're being invited at this time to connect to that higher consciousness and choose love, not fear. Choose love, not fear. Choose love, not fear. So what are the symptoms that you might be experiencing? There's one more thing. I think it's really important to share this. Down the road, they're having the little town is having real sewage problems. Their pipes have been put in 50, 60, old 70-year-old pipes, rusty, way too small for how big the town has become. And so when there are storms, the sewage overflows, it goes into the ponds, it goes into the basements, there's bacteria, it's dense and it's gross and it's not healthy. Kind of like the energy of the world we've been living in these last few years. There's a lot that's been dense, gross how we've been interacting with each other, and unhealthy. So the town decided to take this on and to have an upgrade of the sewage system. So as we drive to that town and through it, the traffic is stopped, and there's these big trucks and land movers, and they're digging out the earth, and they're pulling out those old crusty pipes and that old sludge of the sewage and cleaning it and moving it out. They're having to move grass away and mailboxes away. They're having to make more room. And then, they're putting in brand new pipes that are way bigger. And this is taking time, but it's happening systematically. It's a process, and it's going rather well, actually, from an onlooker's point of view. That's what's happening with us. Our cells are being expanded to hold more energy, to have a capacity to hold more light. That upgrades our frequency. And to do that, there has to be a clearing out of the old, removal of the old sludge, which for us is the old patterns of the old structure, the old habits, the old encoding, including ancestral patterns that go back, I've heard, as much as 7 generations. So there's a lot of clearing to be done. And as we go through it, as these old patterns come up, instead of seeing them as, oh no, not this again, same old, nothing ever changes, now is the time of change, and see it as love. So there's a channeler, an angelic channeler, Sarah Hall, who channels the angels. And she said that, she quoted Archangel Michael as saying, acknowledge without judgment, release with love. So as our patterns and habits and memories, the old memories, for me, I feel like I'm seeing a slideshow of everything that ever happened in my life, things I haven't remembered, all of them is coming up one at a time. And as they do, acknowledge without judgment. Don't identify to it and start that spiral downward. Instead, acknowledge it without judgment and release it into the field of love. So here's what's happening in the body. 7 symptoms of ascension. Number 1, that body of yours, is it feeling achy and in pain? Is there inflammation in places? Oh, it hurts. It's like, why am I so achy from head to toe? Well, if the cells are being expanded and having to release toxins, emotional, mental, um, as well as metal, environmental, plastics, pesticides, all that old density, it has to come out somewhere and it'll inflame in the body or hurt in the body before it can be cleared out. So, achiness, inflammation is really common for people going through the ascension. So if you felt especially achy since April, or especially in this since the new moons this summer and full moon this summer, it could be the ascension. So a second symptom that can indicate that you're part of this global ascension and that it's happening for you in an upgrade of higher consciousness is energetically feeling electrical energy in your body. It can come out in terms of tingling in your hands. Many people feel palpitations in the heart to the point of feeling anxious or panic attacks even. So if that's happening to you, know that it's part of this. It can be part of this electrical upgrade. Here's an example of how that would happen. My friend Tamara Magnitsky, who is a couples numerologist and a medium, she said, Susanna, during the full moon, I could not sleep. It felt like bolts and jolts of electricity were running through my body, to the point where at one point my ass actually was lifted up off the bed, waking up my husband. The jolts were so strong. She was worried, what could this be? And then we had the conversation. Do you know about what the symptoms are for the ascension? This could be what this is. And it just really relaxed her to hear this. She's had so many other symptoms. In fact, let's go on to the next one. You might be feeling sick. Like you might have one day where you feel dizzy and nauseous, and like I like to call it the frequency flu. You might have the frequency flu. It might even have a fever. And so Tamara, actually the next day after the electrical jolts, had the frequency flu. She felt like hell. Really dizzy, nauseous, sick, terrible. And then the next day she woke up, she said, Susanna, I mean, I felt better than I've ever felt. Like I felt so good the next day. So if you're getting those days, especially around full moons or new moons, or other days where the frequency is high, and again, I'm going to give you the dates in a minute, later in the video, that could be part of the ascension process. So that's number 3. Number 4, especially around the new moons and the full moon, can't sleep. He's looking at somebody. I mean, my husband's just used to it. He knows around a full moon, I cannot sleep. I sleep well all the other times. I mean, I use the wearable technology. I love it. I sleep like a baby. But at the new moons, the full moons, not at all. Can't sleep. Other people can sleep through the full moon or new moon, but wake up during the daytime and they're so tired. They feel really fatigued. Oh my God, I just want to sleep. Go ahead and sleep. It's a good time to sleep. This is part of the ascension process. So I think that's number 4. Another thing is that, with the consciousness coming in, it comes through our chakra system this way. It would make sense for people to have headaches right now. Migraines, headaches. Oh, that is also really common symptom. There's also heartaches happening right now. Heartaches would be depression or anxiety. If we're clearing out old patterns, this is especially common for people who have had, this lifetime is a lifetime about relationship clearing, relationship issues. So if people have had very tough relationships in this lifetime or past lifetimes or ancestrally, if relationship is an issue, oftentimes it will lead up to the depressive feelings that can come out right now because the memories, the patterns are being reminded of the old patterns that make somebody feel like they're not good enough, make them have self-hatred. So it's easy to fall into the pattern of self-hatred if you're not aware that this is part of the ascension. It might not feel good, but this is the work to do to, as Archangel Michael said, acknowledge without judgment, release with love. And so being witness of it, honoring it, acknowledging it, and releasing it into a field of love. So that's also very common. I think we're at number 5. So number 6 is a desire to retreat, which comes in 2 forms. One is, do you have this feeling like you just don't want to be around people anymore? You really want to retreat into like a nice cocoon and be away from the madding crowd? Or are you feeling just unmotivated? You just want to kick back and do nothing. Maybe like bake or garden or nothing. These are so common. And if this is how you're feeling right now, it is a very common ascension symptom. And it is a good time to really only put yourself around people who shine the light of love on you, and to resist being around people who make you hold back your light. So that, I believe, is symptom number 6, moodiness, feeling of being overly sensitive, being anxious. Understand it's your nervous system that's being upgraded. So you may feel very nervous or anxious right now, and that's okay. It's part of the upgrade. None of this is going to last forever, by the way. We're just in an intense period of the download of higher frequency. And so it's not going to last forever. And so number 7, you might feel a denseness, a pain in your liver, heaviness in your liver, because we're going through a global detox. Your body is going through a major cleanse. So do whatever is needed to support your liver in clearing out the toxins, the sewage, so to speak, of our lives, so that we can be clear and free to move into this higher consciousness. So that's the 7 symptoms. There are many more, but these are really common ones. And if you have any questions about them, feel free to email me at susanna@livegoodlife.net. I'd be happy to, I want to hear, or put comments below. I'd love to hear from you. How has this been affecting you? Please note, everybody's on a different timeline. We're all praying to ascend to our highest timeline. And there's no, we go into this with no comparison. Some people maybe in 2020 went through this upgrade. There are different levels of upgrading. There may be a different level of upgrade for different people, but many of us are experiencing this particular type of upgrade right now. And so I honor you, I bless you, I acknowledge you, and I affirm you're going to get through this. There's so much support. And this community right here and those around me, we support you in this too. So feel free to reach out. We talked about how this is a time to really focus, really push ourselves to step into that consciousness of love by no matter what happens or frightens us, to shift into a knowing that there's support and that love will win. Love is going to win. Love will win. So stay with that and really push yourself out of old patterns which might have knocked you down. If you get knocked down, love yourself. But remember, love will win this. We have all sorts of support to get through this and lift up into the higher consciousness. And speaking of lifting up into the higher consciousness, here are the dates, the really empowered dates that you may want to plan retreats so you could be out in nature, so you could be at the sunrise, that you could be at the moonrise, that you could be at a sacred place, or be at your home in a meditative space, that you could basically support yourself in this upgrade. So there was a big date just recently, which is why a lot of people were having and are having symptoms, which was 7/7/7, July 7th, 2023, which equals 7. So that was 777. Then on July 17th, there is the new moon, a good time to plan for this new energy and to make intentions for the new. And then on July 18th, the north and south nodes are shifting. This is shifting out of an 18-year pattern, starting something brand new. Again, my favorite astrologer is Pam Gregory. She gives a lot of information on the changing of the north and south nodes. But what it is this new, the new planetary alignment is one of personal empowerment. So know that energy for your personal empowerment is coming beginning July 18th. Then on July 22nd, Venus goes retrograde in Leo. And that is a big time for reviewing our values and our relationship with love. So again, the focus in many ways will be on love, expanding love, reviewing what is love, where is love, what does it mean to me, and how do I align with surrounding myself and releasing more love. That starts July 22nd. And then on August 8th, what's called the Lionsgate portal. So there are portals of time where light frequencies from divine sources are reported to come down and be downloaded into us. And so August 8th is the Lionsgate portal, a wonderful day for a meditation. And for anyone who wants help or support, feel free to reach me. I'm offering free personality assessments. It's the most powerful assessment I have ever seen. It reveals from the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, to the conscious mind, how we operate in the world. I'm doing this for free, and you would get an evaluation session or an assessment with me. It takes about 50 minutes, and I'd be happy to give one to you if you'd like it. Email me at susanna@livegoodlife.net, and also I'll put my link in below. So it's been a pleasure being with you. I am going to do another video, probably next week, on tips on how to work with this energy. We want to work with it. We don't want the waves to roll over us. And so I'll give tips next week. You have a great, great week. May this be a beautiful day. May you align with your beautiful, magnificent self. May you know these symptoms are temporary and that they're helping you clear out the old to make way for the new, and that you are blessed, you are loved, you are love.